Hello, Fish Faithful. I am Kurt Semder, and this is Marlins Daily on the Fan Arch Network. As we are here in the middle of the All Star break, and hopefully you got a chance to see the All Star game last night. Look, not the most exciting game if you're into offense, but the American League just dominated the National League in the All Star game, winning 4-0. The National League only managing 3 hits in this entire game. So the NL definitely struggling in this game, to say the least, as the American League pitching staff really dominated in this one. They got out to an early lead, and from that point on, it was just nothing from the National League bats. For our Marlins, Otto Lopez did get into this game as I thought would happen. He was the only other shortstop on the roster, so they replaced starter from the Nationals, C.J. Abrams, with Lopez, who got into the game. He got 2 at bats in this one, including a single in the 9th inning. He went 1 for 2, so he got one of the 3 hits that the NL got on the evening, but ultimately not enough. He was able to keep the game going at least for one more batter, but it was just more of the same as the National League loses 4-0. But a good showing from Otto here in this one. Like we said, he did have the first at bat was a strikeout, but got a hit, 1 for 2, 500 in the game. That's what you want from the guy who's leading the league in average. So all in all, though, like we say, would have been nice to see Max Meyer pitch in this game, but wasn't meant to be. And because of that, either way, not a lot of Marlins action in the All-Star game. But to be fair, there really wasn't a lot of action in this All-Star game, period. So, what can you say other than that? But despite that, I wanted to talk a little bit about, the All-Star game in general, and in the fact that we talk about this game maybe wasn't the most exciting and maybe didn't have the most offense. That all being said, I think baseball has the best All-Star game. And I've always thought that, and I'll continue to think that because, when you look at baseball's All-Star game, it really is something that stands out from all of the other, the 4 major sports in North America when you talk about football and basketball and hockey. And for baseball, their All-Star game, it really is the only one of those 4 major sports that actually plays the game that they play the rest of the season. It is truly what it's meant to be. You have the best players or the most popular players, depending on how you look at it, facing off, playing the same game that they played 2 days prior and that they'll play 2 or 3 days from now. In football, they've had to gimmick it up to such a degree. They're playing flag football now, and they have all these other things going on. They don't even bother trying to play the Pro Bowl anymore because guys just, we're not playing at the same intensity, not playing at the same speed. And I don't blame them. I mean, football and baseball are much different sports, one being much more physical. So I don't think football players should have been playing a full blast game. But that being said, football's all-star festivities are nothing like what you see on Sundays during the fall and winter months. Then basketball and hockey, I mean, the rules seem to change every year, whether it's U.S. versus the world, or playing to the most points or a certain number of points, or 3-on-3 in hockey, or whatever they may come up with to try to get you to watch a game that the players just don't really seem to be into, and they have to try to get them to be excited about it. Hockey does probably the best of those two, but they're not playing the same game. They're playing something else, something different, and some fans like it. I get it, but my point is that baseball is a straight 9-inning game played by the same guys, and it's what you see all the rest of the year. And I love that about it. That's what you want to see in an all-star game, and I think that's really what it should be. But that being said, it could be better, and it used to be better. I don't want to keep sounding like I'm talking about how things used to be better, but the baseball's All-Star game did used to be better. It used to be a fun attraction, and it used to be something that, I used to look forward to, and I know a lot of people used to look forward to in a big way, and I think there are a couple of reasons for that. One of the big reasons I think for that is that, kids can see their favorite players all the time now, whenever they want. whether that be, on YouTube, or whether that be just on regular TV, because so many more games are on TV and you can just readily see whoever you want most of the time, whether it be streaming or on, your regular national games, that there are so many more of them now. It also used to be a situation where the American League and National League, guess what? You may not remember this. There was a time they didn't play each other during the regular season. That's right. It was real. Interleague ball was not always the way of the game. And when that used to be the case, what would happen is, if you were a fan of a National League team, you may not see some of the best players in the American League other than the All-Star game, or the World Series, of course. But really, the All-Star game was your only chance to see some of the best players in the opposing league, and it was a chance to see some of the best players in some other teams around the country. So you didn't have your team playing everybody. You wouldn't have, for example, let's put it in, today's standpoint here. If you're a Marlins fan and you really wanted to see Aaron Judge, okay, for example, well, the only way then to see Aaron Judge would have been when the Yankees came to town. But then again, the Yankees were in the American League, so they wouldn't come to town, so you wouldn't get a chance to see them that way. You'd have to figure out a way to watch the Yankees, which wasn't readily accessible like it is now. You wouldn't see him. So the only chance you'd get to see a player like Aaron Judge would be in the All-Star game. And that was what made it so special, because you'd see some matchups that you would never have seen before and you may never see again. I'll just take it back to like my time and thinking about it. I think about something like, Greg Maddux taking on Ken Griffey Jr. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about here, where you just wouldn't see these things happen regularly. You wouldn't get a chance. You would just look forward to, wow, this guy's going to start the All-Star game. And look at the lineup. Look who he's going to face at the start of the game. That's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes on. You don't get that anymore. You just have people coming up who you have probably seen, 5, 6, 7, 15 times already during the course of the season, taking on pitchers that you've already seen highlights of, or you've already seen in person, or you've already watched one of their games. So it loses a little bit of that luster. I get it. And I don't know how to get that back. You might not be able to get that back in this day and age when I said, everything is so accessible and everything is able to be seen. But man, it'd be nice if there was just, a little bit more of it. I don't know, maybe if they realign everything and you do away with interleague play, maybe that's a way to get it done. I don't know. But that was something that was special in the All-Star game, and it doesn't exist anymore. And I wish it did, because it was so much fun to see it. And I just remember as a kid, it was just so much fun, watching your favorite players get a chance and go up against some of the best players from the other league that you never got them to see play them go against. And you just wondered what would happen. What would happen if they faced off against one another? And because of that, there was a little bit more league pride, I think. And I think there was a little bit more intensity to it. But maybe we can't get back there. It was just a thought I was having about the All-Star game and how it used to be. And I felt, what? I think it used to be better, but it's still good. And I still think it's the best of all the major sports. So looking forward to next year's All-Star game and Home Run Derby and all of that, as I always do every year. Hopefully there'll be more Marlins in the game next year when we get into that situation. And that takes me to what we're talking about today. And that was, I thought about this. This is some little trivia time for you. All right. I want to engage with you here and see what we can come up with. I was trying to think of, when the Marlins had lots of All-Stars, what year did they have the most All-Stars was what I was trying to come up with. And I had some ideas. It turned out I wasn't really right in my head, so I had to look up some of this. But it turns out, and from the Marlins, three times in their franchise history have had 4 All-Stars, which is the best for them. So 4 All-Stars in one season. And it's happened 3 times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the years. I'm going to give you the 3 years that these took place. And what I want you to do is see how many of those players from those All-Star teams you can name. Okay? And put it in the comments below. Let's see how many you can get. The years were 2016, 2005, and 2004. Each of those years, the Marlins had 4 All-Stars. Now, the total number of players that I'm looking for here are 11 players. So that means one of these guys made 2 teams. And you can probably figure out, I'll give you this much, that one player made the team in both 2005 and 2004. So What I want you to do is in the comments below, let me know what you think, who you think those all-stars were, or if you're just driving in the car, try to think about it. Try to think about who may have been those all-stars, who may have been the guys who made the all-star team in 2016, in 2005, and 2004. There are a couple of names on there that I think you'll get quickly. There are a couple of names that you probably won't. And we'll give you the answers later in the week, but I can't wait to see what you come up with. I got to be honest myself, I forgot a couple of these guys myself. And I was a little surprised when I saw some of the names on the list myself, but you know what? This is what we were having a little bit of fun with. So a little trivia time here on Marlins Daily. These 3 years, once again, 2016, 2005, and 2004, how many Marlins All-Stars from those years? It's 11 players total. How many of them can you name? I'm looking forward to seeing some of your answers, not just here on the video, but let me know what you think right here on. You can also let me know on social media. Let me know what you think about everything going on here with this trivia question here as we make our way towards the second half of the season. And as we head towards the second half of the season, you know, we still got a few days left here in the All-Star break, and before the Marlins get back to action here, looking to wipe away the taste of that sweep at the end of the first half of the season. And what we're going to do going forward here for the next couple days, going to give you those first half grades. You know, how have the Marlins done? You know, June was fantastic. July, pretty good. First 2 months of the season, would like to forget it. But it's put them in a good spot where they are now as we look forward to the trade deadline, which is, you know, just a couple of weeks away. What do you think? First half grades, they're going to be coming on the way here. I'm going to let you know what I think about what the Marlins have done so far this year. You should expect some high grades for a couple of players, but I'll tell you right now, some of these guys not going to be thrilled with the grades they got. And they're going to need to do some work in the second half to get some better grades to the end of the season. So we'll have that coming up for you here as we make our way towards the second half of the year. A lot to talk about still here on Marlins Daily. I hope you enjoyed the All-Star game. And like I said, take a look at our trivia question for the day, and we'll have those answers for you at the end of the week. But for now, that's it here for Marlins Daily. I'm Kurt Semder. Good luck on the question, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.